Hello, and welcome to our new episode of What's Good with Kinte. I am joined by a guest co-host. Now, normally I don't do this show. You might hear a little feedback. Hold on a second. Kinte. Sorry about that. Normally I do the show without a co-host, but today I said, you know what? I want a co-host, and I'm bringing in the big guns. So all the way from Toronto
He
is
died.
one and only LA Wade. How
What's
you doing,
going
LA?
on? How are you? It's so great to be here. Thanks for having me, especially because you usually do your own thing here, and you clearly saw that I would be of a benefit to you. So
Oh,
I'm here for you.
for sure. I appreciate that too.
No doubt.
Um, helping me carry the load tonight. So
You
this is
can't
our
handle all those women. You can't handle all these women.
no right. I needed
He
help.
needed help.
I needed help for sure.
Too heavy
Uh,
with
so tonight we have the pleasure of being joined by three wonderful, beautiful ladies, all sisters, all comedians at different stages of their careers. And I really wanted to do a program. I've been wanting to do this for a while. A program where we talk to funny ladies and and get why they wanted to tell jokes and different things and stuff like that. And we're so fortunate to have these three beautiful ladies. And I'll start off with the first lady who I've known for quite a while now, back in the Blab days. She was at the very beginning of her comedy career when I first met her, and she's just blossomed and is doing so wonderful. And everybody's just so proud of her and the growth that she's had. It's one and only Dany Redwine. How you doing, Dany?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh, that was such a cute introduction, Kinte.
Yeah,
Those were the days.
I've
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of you as a person and what you do, and you're very inspiring. And
Thank you.
so I'm glad to have you back on the program tonight.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
All right, so this next young lady, I met her. I guess it's been about a couple of weeks now, and I met her through the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe, who's in the chat room as well on Get Vocal. Dr. Vibe, who, as you know, all the people who know Dr. Vibe, he's our mentor. And this young lady was promoting an event, an online comedy event. And so I got to know her, and it was perfect timing for her to come on the show. And that is Lady Day. How you doing, Lady Day?
I am fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Looking forward to the chat.
Yes, it's gonna be fun. All right, so this next young lady, I met through a good friend of mine. His name, he goes by Lamb, and he's a crazy character. And she is another woman who has many talents, and comedy is one of them. She's, as you can see behind her, she has the chessboard. She's online teaching how to play chess as well. So
what's up?
So she's I said, does that make you a chess master or mistress? I didn't know what the term is. So she'll fill us in on that. And that is Danna Kiel.
Hey there, you guys. So in the world of chess, there's only like expert, master, grandmaster. That's it. So there isn't, even when women achieve the norms and the rating level to become an expert, a master, or grandmaster, still considered those things. So there isn't like a special dispensation in terms of the title. And I am a chess at the heart of everything. Just a chess teacher who wants to teach everybody from 5 to 95. My oldest student is 93. How to play the game, and that's it. So I have a blast because the game is the game of you. It's all these pieces represent you. So it's just it's more about you when you learn to play. So that's there's no such thing as a chess mistress. Only the masters. And
well, as long as you're not a chess grand dragon. That's something totally different.
What's wrong with that, Kinte?
Now, you don't want to be a grand dragon. That's a kick your case. Uh-oh. Danna, yeah, you're having some technical difficulties.
Audio problems, yeah.
Yeah.
She's on mute.
Okay. All right. So, LA,
Yes, dear.
we'll start off with you.
Why did you start with me?
Well, just hear me out.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hear me out. Hey, Stephanie. I see Stephanie in the chat, and
I don't see anybody.
I can't see
Maya.
anybody in the chats.
Neither can I.
If you, there's the comment should be on the right side of your screen. It should be a comment.
Yeah, the last one I see is from Dana.
Yeah, you're looking at the private. You want to go to.
Oh, I see him. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Steph. Hi,
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Andre.
wow.
Yeah, I can see Andre in there now.
Yeah. So, all right, and I'll flash the ones that are on Facebook onto the screen. I can be able to do that. All right, so LA, yes. I'm someone who grew up loving comedy. I hung out in comedy clubs, have tons of favorite comedians. Go back, years to the right now. And a lot of the favorite comedians are women as well. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of women don't get their just due in the comedy game. And, there's a lot of reasons for it. We'll talk about it tonight. But I just wanted to ask you as the co-host, what are some of the comedians that you always liked, female-wise?
Well, it's sad that I can just count them on my probably on my one hand, but if I stretch, maybe on my two hands. There's always names that you hear, but that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is, us melanated people, we have such characters in our family that I think we're always exposed to comedy. To be honest, I mean, I could say my Auntie Irva is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, but the world doesn't know that. So I could say she's my favorite comedian, and nobody would know who I was talking about. So I would say that there's many people in my life that have been fun, like some girlfriends. Man, I know exactly who to call because we would be crying from laughing so hard. So the texture is all there. We have to just put it together like these wonderful ladies have been able to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Very well said. Very well said. All right. So let me start off with you, Dany. First question. A lot of us do know your backstory, but for those who don't know, how did you first get into comedy? What was the catalyst to get you in there?
Breast cancer. I got diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2013, and I had my mastectomy, and I was going through my process of reconstruction, and I was going through a hard time. It was a tough moment in my life for me. And I needed something to give me some motivation. I created like a bucket list just to start seeing things that I've always wanted to do. When you go through cancer, there's almost like an urgency to do things that you haven't been able to do or tap into or even try, for that fact. So the only thing that was attainable on my list was to do stand-up. And I signed up for an open mic and did 5 minutes. I think I barely got 5 minutes. I was under 5, but I did a really good job. I got two or approached by 2 people to do other shows after that night. And I've been hooked ever since. I actually took it seriously after that.
I think we were talking about this the other day. Like, if you were able to conquer cancer, I mean, going up on stage ain't nothing, right?
I went up there. The initial jitters were there, but as soon as I got on stage and I got that first laugh, it was like all of the nervous went away. So it was good for me because I like to laugh. I come from a family, like LA said, I come from a family full of comedians. And I used to be the kid that used to sneak at the bottom of the stairs and listen to my mom and dad listen to Red Fox albums and Richard Pryor albums, so I would always hear stand-up comedy growing up throughout my life. So I knew what to do. I knew what it was. I knew about time. I didn't know everything about etiquette, but I eventually learned. But I knew enough to feel confident enough to do it. And it was like my therapy. It was something that I needed to take my mind off all the other shit I was going through. Oh shit, can we say shit?
Yeah, you say whatever you like.
So, I had a lot of shit on my plate, so I needed something that was a positive outlet for me, and comedy fit the bill for me.
All right, so I'm gonna ask Lady Day the same question. What got you into comedy?
So much like Dany, it was on my bucket list. There's no cancer, but it was something that I joked about having on my bucket list. I had a colleague that I joked about for the longest while, saying, we're going to do one show. We're going to go on the road with the one show and call it This Is Why I'm Single. And so I finally got a chance to put my money where my mouth was and test it out. And again, just hooked from the first time. I clearly remember, and this was recent, this was just in August, but as I was stepping off the stage, all I could think was, I have got to do this again. I had such a good time, fully enjoyed it, and thought it was completely addictive for me. And I thought, I've got to try this again. And was pleased that I was able to. I knew I was funny, but to be funny with your friends and to be funny on stage with a diversified group of people are two different skill sets. And so I was pleased to see that I could actually make a bunch of different people laugh. And so then it was just challenge was on. I have, one of my closest friends has been doing it for years and has been volunteering me into certain jobs. And so that's given me more opportunity to do it, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I'm loving hearing it because we're in the same city, and that's dope. Now that I know this, man, this is so great. I can't wait to connect and help to expose you to whoever you want to get exposed to. That's dope. I love that. And a woman of color here in Toronto, I know what the scene is like here. Man, you got
yes.
All the crabs are on top of each other. We just don't have the population size. So that's why we're going to expose ourselves to the state, because there's just not enough people here, right?
I had a conversation with Kinte, and I was telling him how years and years ago I went to Yuck Yuck's what they called the Black Comedy Night. And I'm like, y'all just need to call it Everybody Who's Not White Night, because it was not just Black people. Like, it was basically minority night. And like, I think there was a Persian guy on Black Comedy Night. And I'm like, listen, like every pigmented person that they thought was funny was on stage that night. And I'm like, okay, y'all need to change the name if it's going to be more than Black people. But that's the scene in Toronto, and especially back then, was just so sparse. They were just grabbing what they could.
Wow. Yeah, it's true. It's 100% true. I testify. And I was like, testify. Like, what? Having a good conversation.
Yes.
What is that?
Oh no, that was something's going on in Dany's background. But
okay.
All right. So Dana, how did you get involved in comedy? Uh-oh, Dana. Can you hear me, Dana?
Dana? I can't. Okay.
Let me see.
Oh,
All right,
let's try it. Let's try her back.
I cannot hear anything anybody is saying at all. Like some people, I don't know. I think to be the odd man out because I only hear static.
Yeah.
I hear nothing anybody is saying. I'm not getting nothing. I can't get anything. I can barely hear you. I don't know what to do anymore because I'm muted. You muted me. I don't know.
Yeah.
What to do because I can't hear anything. I can't hear your questions. I can't hear anybody answers. Nothing.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do. So it was funny. We tested it out in the beginning before the show was time.
Because maybe that girl in the bottom.
I wish I didn't sign
translate everything that everybody's saying.
I only know how to.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's all good.
For Obama.
Sign language.
All right. All right. So, sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so did you have something, LA, before I continue?
No, now the sign language is gone. There's no need to talk about it anymore.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk about your experiences being on stage, right? And Lady Day said something that was very interesting, that you can be the funny guy at the break room, or the funny lady at the break room, or the funny person in church, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can go up on stage and make people laugh. I've seen it many times where that guy thought he was going to be funny, and then they did an open mic, and then he went up on stage and embarrassed himself, So how do you know that you're not just the funny mom or the funny, person in your family, and that you actually have the juice to go up there and really become a stand-up comedian? We'll start off with you, Dany. How did you know that was something that really was for you?
Shit, I still question it. I mean, it's not easy being a comedian. I think it's the hardest job on the planet. But I think that there is a place where something in you transcends into who you want to be on stage. Getting up there, getting your feet wet, you still just figuring out the lighting, you figuring out how you hold the microphone. Do you stand? Do you put your hand in your pocket? Do you pace the stage? Like there's just so many different ways that you go about finding your feet. When I first started out, I really didn't have a swag on stage, if you will. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I had the microphone on the stand, sometimes I took it off. It just kind of depends. I think every time it can feel different, but while you're in the developmental phases of it. But once you get comfortable, it's just an adrenaline rush that you get, and then you get up there and do your thing. I think some people catch on to it faster than others. Like there's comedians that haven't been doing it as long as me, and they are awesome comedians, but they have the time to put into it, because it does take a lot of time. You got to put in a lot of gym work. You have got to be in those open mics. You have got to take every show that you can get your hands on. You got to network with people, in order to get your feet wet. But it's all about practice. I mean, the more you practice with your writings, like I think there's a lot of times where I think of stuff that I think is funny and I just try it on stage, because in the open mics, that's like your gym where you try out new jokes. And I've bombed a lot of times on shit I thought was hilarious. So it's just one of those things that you have to kind of find the connectability with your audience. Like you have to find something that connects with them. Like look into your audience. I'm kind of getting to a place now where I check my audience out. Do I have older people in here? Do I have younger people in here? Are there interracial couples? Are there Hispanics in here? Like I need something that I can kind of tap into them as who they are to get them to receive my jokes that I have for them. Because I feel like when you're a comedian, you start to develop material for everybody. Nobody's safe. Let's just say that. Nobody's safe in comedy, Sometimes, your kids can be safe in regards to certain situations, but don't bring your kid around a comedian barbecue for sure and be able to handle their ass, because they gonna get lit up and the baby gonna get lit up too. So, it's just one of those things, you have to kind of absorb your environment and see how to dance with their asses, so to speak.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Oh, let's see. Let's try Dana one more time. All right, Dana.
Sounding promising.
Can you hear us?
And it's not true.
Oh, Dana, can you hear us? Let me isolate her. Dana, can you hear us?
I don't hear static.
No, you sound good. You sound good. Can you hear me?
I don't know what the question is, but I'm here and I don't hear static, and everybody sounds beautiful and amazing.
Oh, wow. But you don't hear us.
So
hilarious.
Sounds
hilarious.
Good.
All right. All right. So we'll go to you, lady. How would you describe your comedy style? I know you're very young into the game, but right now, what would you say is your style?
So what's interesting is when I first started doing this, I was like, I don't want to call myself a comedian. Like I felt like I didn't have the right to call myself a comedian, but I had already been doing public speaking. So what I've learned is the art of storytelling. And so I just feel like I tell funny stories. And so my style is really wrapping up the humor in interweaving the humor into the story that I'm telling and hoping that what I'm telling is funny. I mean, I've added some stuff now. The last 2 times I did stuff, I messed with some songs because I like to do that, and that seems to work too. But because I'm so new at it, I don't know if I have a style. The only thing I can say that's kind of consistent is there's usually me telling some kind of a story and there's humor in the story.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like, Lady Day, are you ever worried about the context of being Canadian crossing over into the U.S. market? Kind of like I've heard from some people that they didn't get Major Hype's comedy when they're American and their heritage is American. Do you ever think about how that is true for you crossing over?
I don't know if I've thought about crossing over again because I'm so new at this. That hasn't really crossed my mind so much as a lot of my stuff has been about dating and fails in my dating life. And a lot of those fails have included men who are from other nations. And so there's lots of accents when I'm telling my stories. And so sometimes I wonder if that might get lost in maybe a crowd that isn't as diversified as somewhere like Canada, where you just kind of assume a room full of Black people has got a decent amount who are recently from the Caribbean, whether it's them or their parents, or recently from somewhere on, the African continent. And so they can appreciate it different than somebody who is multi-generation North American. Okay. But by the same token, people tend to like accents. So sometimes for them, the humor is just in the accent. And then usually the absurdity in what I've had said to me kind of makes everybody laugh. Because there's that shock factor of, did she just say that the guy said ...
Yes, I can relate. I completely can relate. Stephanie in the chat, Kinte, was talking about that fact about multicultural people the comedy tends to go in that direction when you're from Canada. She has a friend in Toronto. Yeah, there.
We have it up on screen. Yes. All right. So, Dana, can you hear us? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Can you hear us, Dana?
Is this a part of the bit?
I guess, right. It's the bit, right? We're working out a bit. All right. All right. So being, such beautiful ladies, right? And you guys have stories to tell about your experiences and whatnot. Do you ever find yourself? Do you get prejudged? We'll start with you, Dany. Do you think you get prejudged, like when you come out on stage?
Yes. Yes, I do. I get prejudged. Everyone thinks I'm such an angel. Like,
look at that.
Because I'm so nice. So, when they see me cut a rug on stage, they're like, "Whoa, I didn't see that coming." But I try to stay true to myself as possible because I don't know how to be anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to just come in there with a good attitude, and I love people, but with all the stuff that's on the internet, you can post a meme and people judge you based off of that meme. Like, it doesn't matter really what you bring to the stage. I mean, you can say one thing that people find to pick apart and then they don't like you no more. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where I posted like a video, I think it was on Instagram, and the girl was like, well, I didn't think that video was funny. And I was like, well, it's not for everybody, Mm-hmm. And I went back and forth with this girl about this video for probably about a good, maybe once or twice. And then after that, I was like, why am I explaining to this girl that the video I think is funny? Right. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like this is pointless, but she probably would have kept arguing with me. It's just something for people to do. People have nothing better to do than to sit around and watch people and judge them based off of what they see. Mm-hmm. I used to give a shit about what people thought, and now I'm just, the older I get, the less I give a shit. I don't care. I have to be comfortable in my own skin and be a good mother to my children, a good daughter to my mother. And that's the only thing I'm concerned about. If they still love me at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about Dany Redwine. Let's just put that out there.
Love it.
What about you, Lady Day? I know, like I said, you're quite new at this, but what do you think that the first impression you usually give when you come
Get
out?
ready, Lady Day. Get ready. This comedy
impression. Well, people can pick up that I have a big, bold personality, but the biggest community I know in Toronto is a community. I'm a church girl. So when I talk about my dating life and I might say something that somebody said to me, it might seem outrageous. And I've had moments of, if my pastor was here, what would he think, right? But it's the truth of what's said. And the older I get, now there's some people that will argue I never had a filter. I would like to say I did, but the older I get, the less filter I have. So I'm gonna just say what I'm gonna say, and it is
Absolutely.
what it is.
Right.
So, and my filter's gone with gravity. I'm too old for those things to be working well in my life. And so I just, you got to be straight. And I work in mental health. So I'm all about, I need to find moments to laugh, because I can have a day where I might do my job really well, but doing my job really well means I spend 8 hours in heaviness and hearing people's horrible stories of the different things that people experience. So at the end of the day, yeah, I want some levity to break all of what I might have heard in that day. And
Absolutely.
so I'm always looking for opportunities to laugh. Yeah. And I was raised in a household where we were always laughing. My mom's like, I think she thinks she's a comedian. So she likes to just get a reaction out of people, and she's always trying to make people laugh. So I was raised around humorous people, just like how L.A. Wade said, like, I got that funny auntie too. And so you just learn to make that a part of your life. And so I don't fully know what impression I make on people yet, but I don't know if I'm that concerned. I just want to entertain people. And so I'm hoping that at the end of the day, people walk away entertained.
I believe in you. I believe.
Thanks, girl.
Apparently, Dana can hear everybody but me. So if you would,
Really?
Yeah, if you would ask Dana a question.
Okay. It's Dana. So I think that the question, it seems like we're answering, is about style and about the source of our humor and why we are in the comedic space. It's tough to just make out exactly like some of the answers I can hear. So let me just jump in, where I can. I realized probably last year, unequivocally, indubitably, that I am a comedian, and I've always been a comedian. On that journey, I've taught school, and I spent a lot of time kind of hiding, and even having tried comedy like almost 20 years ago, I just thought that there were these other forces to bear, that I wasn't the right age to be getting started. But that said, come forward in full circle, I spent a lot of time in an organization called Toastmasters, and even in there, I was speaking a lot, but I always gravitated toward humor. And what I began to see about the space that I am currently inhabiting is that there's just so much in everyday life. There is a lot in the life of being African American, which is a specific journey compared to other parts of the diaspora and where we all got dropped off. And so this drop off on this, on this landmass, certainly built a certain experience. And I have found a lot of space in that. And then what kicked off where I am today is driving Lyft and just becoming naked and face to face with all types of people, dealing with all types of things, just from the fact that everybody has a certain smell. Sometimes it's a good smell, sometimes it's a bad smell, sometimes it's a smell of a habit, it's a smell of whatever. And and I love to talk about just human behavior. I recently picked up on the fact that in an attempt to raise my son in not what I would call a race neutral way. But then in this African American experience, I think having grown up a Gen Xer born late 60s, coming of age through the 70s, it feels to me at this point in my life that our color was almost a burden. There was this Black power kind of thing, this ethos that we were given, but everything was in the face of as a burden. And I realized that as I grew up, I wasn't successful in untangling the space. And so it has led to its own comedy of errors in life, trying to be Black and proud, but then be worried about what they're going to say if I, like, who might follow me somewhere, whatever these things. So with my child, I thought, okay, well, I want to give him the best of everything. I don't want him to have these very singular ideas about the world based on his color, or the culture that he is a rich lineage of. But by the same token, I feel like I've done him a disservice. I was doing an open mic last night, and I explained that, as much as those of us in America use that term, as African Americans, we say the race card or my Black card, I'm going to lose my Black card. I came face to face on my son's 18th birthday with, I don't know that he has a Black card. And I had to do a survey to check to see if he has a Black card, because if he doesn't, it's my fault. And, and if he does have a Black card, which one his Black card? Because it's uncomfortable dancing. And I, as an African-American woman from the South, the one thing that you never want to hear from your children is, I don't want to dance, or I can't dance. Those are two things that, as an African-American in this country, we don't want to hear. Like I felt like a failure in that moment. I felt like an absolute failure when he felt uncomfortable dancing. And I don't expect him to, just, he doesn't have to do the whoa, but just this, this general discomfort. And then I said, okay. So I went on and just kind of say, okay, well, let's just do a little litmus test. Have you heard of Prince? He was like, yes. I was like, okay, name a song. He was like, no. Okay. Have you heard of Michael Jackson? Yes. Can you name a song? Billie Jean. I was like, okay, not a great start, but let's see what else you got. And he went on to name more, the popular Michael Jackson. So again, I felt a bit of a failure, because him not naming ABC or Never Can Say Goodbye means that I didn't play enough oldies, play enough early Motown in our house. And then I asked the very vital question, two vital questions, one of which he answered affirmatively, which was, have you heard of Aretha Franklin? Yes. Can you name a song? Think. And then I said, okay, have you heard of Mary J. Blige? And the answer was a resounding no. And at that moment, I felt like I had absolutely failed as a parent. And so for me, the work that I do on stage, the comedy, is a lot about mining the space that I have lived through in my time as a Gen Xer on the planet, and the current point of view, wherever I aim it. And so everything that I can hear about characters are places that I want to get to, but I found through my Toastmasters journey this niche for kind of looking at how any of us are interpreting the spaces we're in, and what we think of that, and how we respond, and how we then move about the world with those responses. And there's just so much humor. There's so much humor there.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well said. Yes.
I hope that answers some semblance of any question that has been asked today.
That's amazing. That was amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So myself, I always feel, a lot better. I feel a lot better when I do a lot of public stuff, right? Is how fly I look, right? So my question, I'm start off with you, Dany. When you're on stage, do you want to be fly on stage? Do you want to be dressed down? Like how, do you ever just like, I'm going to blow them away tonight, what I'm going to wear? Or do you just try to kind of keep it, just plain, casual? What's your thought?
It kind of depends on my mood that day. If I feel like dressing down and wearing a Adidas jacket and some jeans and some Adidas, that's what I'm gonna do, which I generally do. But when I'm booked for a show and I'm performing and I'm on a bigger stage, then I usually dress up for that. As long as the heels,
that was the
as
next
long as I can get around on them heels, sister done put a little weight on, so I'm carrying around a little extra. You know, so heels have not been my friend as of recent. So I try to avoid heels as much as possible.
Yeah, I would think if you're gonna do like a pretty long set, maybe not the heels. You may not want to be in.
If you're up there a half hour with heels on, if they're not comfortable heels, you hurting in 10 minutes.
Oh, you know, you can make that part of your bit.
I've come out of my shoes on stage before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That question
like 10
comes
into it, you can just swing them off, right?
Yep, sure have. Yep.
I have a question.
But I didn't like that I had to, so I just made sure I didn't put myself in that position again.
I don't know how often you do shows, but do you ever feel like you're repeating the same jokes and does it help you just by saying it to different audiences, or do you get bored or caught in your head like, oh, this is not going the way I wanted it to? Do you ever get caught up in your mind?
Well, you should always write jokes. You should always have something fresh. When you first start out, you have to build your set. So you're going to repeat jokes. You're going to repeat them because you're trying to figure out where the punchline is at. Is it at the beginning of the story? Is it in the middle, at the end? Like, you have to figure out the placement of your jokes and get your set fluid. Mm-hmm. You want your set to be fluid and not sound choppy. You don't want to go back, or you don't want to revert back. If I'm talking about my titties and then I start talking about dating and then my kids, I'm not going to revert back to talking about my boobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there has to be, some consistency in your set, and doing the same jokes helps with that consistency. Yeah. Now, once you get that down, you start adding jokes into it, and that's how you build your set. Mm-hmm. So you can start out with a 5-minute set, and if you're still writing jokes, then you should be adding to that 5 minutes to achieve 10, to achieve 15, and so on and so on. So, your creativity can't stop at your 5-10 minute set. You have to be able to bring something new to the table. And even I've changed some of my jokes that I used to deliver them a certain type of way, and it didn't work for me, but I knew it was a good joke. I couldn't leave it alone. Right. So I just had to figure out how to reword it to make it hit, so it's just a lot of wordplay, a lot of figuring out, what works best for you. But again, it all goes back to practice.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Now, I believe Dana is in a relationship. I believe Dany is single as well as Lady Day.
Oh, I'm very single.
As well as LA.
So my question is to you ladies, the single ladies, is should a man be afraid that if he starts dating you, he might just end up in your material? Should that be a fear?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I don't. I don't talk about who I'm dating. Now, if the shit don't work out and you did something dumb, then yeah. But I won't name drop you. You know what I mean? You'll just become a character in my set, right? If you will. But no, I don't set out to look for material when I'm dating somebody. Like, if they say something stupid, they just say something stupid. Like I said, I won't hold it against them until necessary. I guess.
Right. Exactly.
Unless if it's good material, it's good material.
That's right.
So but that's not my motivation. Because that I get that question a lot from guys, and I'm like, I don't want them to feel that pressure of, if they come to my show, I'm a start going in on them. You know what I mean? I want somebody to do that to me, So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Uh-huh.
But
when it's over, it's fair.
You break up with me and I liked your ass. Then it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna tear your ass up on stage. I'm gonna give you a messed up name too, so everybody will laugh at your name. So.
What about you, Lady Day? Now you can give the social media handle and just fully put them out there, right?
Should a guy, a potential person that you may date in the future, should he be afraid that he may end up in your act?
Me?
Yes.
I don't think he needs to be afraid of that. I have used previous encounters in my act because that was kind of the motivation for even trying the comedy. Just the amount of comical things that happen because, you know, you find it, they talk about Murphy's Law, and I'm like, I feel like Murphy's got a special team on my life because of what's happened in my dating life. But then every woman I talk to kind of feels the same way. But I don't think a guy going forward needs to worry about that. I would be respectful of the relationship. I'm kind of with Dany. If there's a breakup and there's some real good stuff in there, I might doctor the story a little bit so it's not obvious who it is, but I might have to use it. I don't know. I'm so new at this. I haven't even really put it into thought. I have thought about the one particular story I've told that really killed it, like got some really good laughs. I just thought if anybody knows this guy, it might identify who he is. And I'm like, let's just hope none of his peeps are in this audience because it just made him look real special. And he was. But yeah, you know, but it is what it is. Like, you know, we should be able to laugh at ourselves. And I laugh at myself as much as I laugh at other people.
Yeah. I think as long as you're not mean-spirited, you know. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
It's not coming from negativity. If that shit was funny, then that shit was funny. So
right.
and
more of the humor is from the shocking nature of what happens in the encounter. Like it's the thought that somebody would actually think that that was a good idea to say to somebody or do with somebody or like that kind of stuff. Like I went on a lunch date with one guy, and when he got out of his car, I just thought, you thought that was the outfit that was going to impress me? I couldn't say that to the man, but I just thought he rolled up on me head to toe green, looking like he came out of Crayola box. What was he thinking? Like,
does he have dreads?
No, but he was fresh, and I think that was part of what influenced his style.
I get it.
Okay,
hilarious.
Do you know what we mean when we say fresh?
Oh, sorry, I'm being very. That's the Caribbean influence.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was new to Canada from the Caribbean.
Like fresh off the boat.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't just like fresh to death. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah. No, I got it. I dated West Indians before.
If I ever get into comedy, I'm going to be doing the translations. I think that's going to be my niche.
Right. You can be the translator for us. Hilarious though. Okay, so mining for material, right? Is there anything off limits at all? Like, is there any topics that you guys wouldn't touch, or is everything fair game? Or what's your mindset about that?
I don't know. I really haven't had too many jokes that I've had to be like, ooh. I mean, and those probably I would run by people, and if they said, ooh, I just didn't use them. I think probably handicap is probably my most that I won't, just because I think that can be insensitive. Right. Especially because they can't help being born the way that they are. But that also transcends to race, because I talk about white people. I mean, I talk about Black people. I talk about Hispanics, but I don't talk about them in a demeaning way. I think that certain jokes can be approached in a way that is not demeaning. But any of those jokes that are questionable, I always ask, when in doubt, ask. You always have a friend or something that you can run a joke by, to see what they think, see what their opinion is, or even your comedy family. Once you get into the comedy field, you start meeting other comedians. So whoever your energy is vibing with and whoever you click with, run stuff by them. When I first started comedy, I feel like a lot of comedians reached out to me and kind of showed me the ropes on a lot of stuff I didn't know, in regards to etiquette and things that you don't want to do that might rub promoters wrong and that sort of thing. So, it's all a learning process, but I think you should be mindful of all of your material. But you know, that's kind of one of those things. Like, you never know. Some people might get offended and another audience might die laughing. I mean, I talk about breast cancer. I talk about my experience, but I've had people say, I don't like your breast cancer jokes, because I have an aunt that died from breast cancer.
Uncomfortable.
And I sympathize with that. However, I'm talking about my experience, and on the flip side, I could have died from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I kind of feel like this is my way of expressing and educating people at the same time, because I mean, I could be in a different position had I not found my cancer soon enough, you know, the time that I found it. So I'm endeared to comedy helping me through that process. And if people are super sensitive, and I kind of bring it to the stage to where I introduce that I've had breast cancer, and I let them know that my titty is not a pity titty. This is not a titty I want you to feel sorry for. And I think that kind of has kind of given people the idea that I'm not here to poke fun at breast cancer. I'm here to talk about my own personal experience. So, yeah. I mean, there's ways around everything, but you do have to be mindful.
I like that pity titty. That's dope.
Yeah, this ain't a pity titty, you know.
It's pretty titty.
She getting a lot of love out here in the street, you know. I mean, not the kind of love I'd like, but you know.
I like that. I like how you are about
being
it.
A breast cancer advocate has really opened up some doors for me to share my story and my journey. So, yeah,
it's amazing. My mother is a breast cancer survivor, so definitely, you know, as a, you know, someone who supported her as the whole family did through that. It's
right.
And
I talk about dating big dudes.
Yeah, that's good material. Yeah,
that's made me quite popular, though. All the big dudes like me.
Of course, of course. I go to the meetings.
I be getting sandwiches and cash apps for sushi and shit, and it's like,
hey, I go to those meetings.
I get perks. You know, they don't offer me a drink. They feed me. You know, they send me like fry baskets and onion ring baskets at the club. Like, I love it. So I'm not gonna stop talking about fat niggas. So let's just put that out there. I love them.
You're giving me some ideas. I'm like, oh, how can I finagle a, you know?
Man, I'm get in where you can fit in, Lady Day. You know, it's great here.
Well, the interesting thing is talking about being single has made some people want to put in their resume. So I'm getting some job applications.
Hey, I'm telling you. You know, sometimes, and it's funny because when I started out with those jokes, it was more of me talking about the and you can relate to this, Lady Day. What is it called? Body, having issues with body image, and that's like a thing. You know, I talked to a counselor about that shit. You know what I'm saying? So my joke around dating big dudes was surrounded around them being overweight and me being insecure about my breast. Felt like it was a little relative. Like, fat dudes have titties too, you know? So I was like, hey, that's it right there. You know, I got titties, you got titties, you know?
Oh, man.
So it kind of stemmed from that. And a lot of people took to it, you know? So it was like, you know what? I'm gonna start showing the big boys some love because they don't really get no love out here. So that was kind of like my niche. And dudes was like, I like that. So now when I go to shows, it'd be a big dude sitting in the front. You know what I'm saying? don't be scared of the sister. You know,
love.
They know they're getting some love, and then they send your girl a shrimp basket, and I'm straight, you know?
Shrimp basket. Kinte, can I have a last call with these ladies?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, but don't do it like this. I need to see them when I'm asking the question. Okay, perfect. So we'll start with today. What is your favorite cocktail to drink when you are with someone you're going to get it on with?
Mm.
You think about your Dany.
I don't really quite know how to answer that.
Wow.
I wow. Well, you know, I would like to congratulate you on stumping me and silencing me for a second, because that's a hard feat. I can't say that there's a favorite cocktail. I know that in general, in terms of what kind of drinks I like, I mean, I have learned to appreciate some wine right now, but I'm still like, I love me all kind of rum.
Rum. Okay. What's your favorite rum?
From across the Caribbean. What's my favorite rum? My favorite rum is a signature rum from Saint Martin called guava berry rum.
Oh, I don't know that.
It is tasty like because you can only get in Saint Martin. But the nice thing is, if you ever go there, which I love it there, I've been twice, you have to get the signature guava berry rum. And because it's made in Saint Martin, it's considered a souvenir. So if you buy more alcohol, you can still bring the guava berry rum as your souvenir. So you get to go home with more alcohol.
I like this. This is great information.
That is making me sound a little like I drink a lot, but that's not the case. I just like me some rum, and I don't go to Saint Martin every 5 minutes. So I'm like, I need to bring me back something that's going to last. So because you can stash those, like I can bring 2 bottles as my souvenir on top of my other stuff. Yep. You can get a little bit more of a stash to go home with.
I see a trip in our future. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I was actually tracking between Puerto Rico and, oh my God, sorry. So there's another rum that I like that I've been encouraged to mention. This one I found out initially in Saint Martin.
Yeah.
And I'll tell the story first. So I'm sitting at the bar, and I was in Saint Martin in 2015, and it was my bucket list solo trip. So I was like, I'm going to go on a trip by myself. I don't, I wanted to try that out. So here I am. We have this, I'm having a great time. And I go to the bar, and I'm going to order a drink. And the bartender's chatting with this gentleman, and he says, okay, the next drink is on me. And he gives him a shot, and he says, just tell me what you think. And this guy downs the shot, and he's like, ooh, it's so smooth, and it's going down my throat so nicely, and it's delectable on my tongue. And he's saying all this stuff. And so then he's like, but what is it called? And the bartender slaps down the bottle, and it's called Big Black Dick.
Oh my God.
I kid you not. So this rum, yes, I seen Dany's eyes. That's what the rum is called. So I had to try it. And then I went to Cayman Islands in 2018, and that's where I think it's originally a Dutch rum, but it's known mostly in the Cayman, and that's where you can get it. So I came home with a bottle of the chocolate BBD, as my friend likes to call it. So that's another one the guava berry and the BBD are my rums.
Okay, like it. Miss Dany, Miss Redwine. Is Redwine an indicator?
I like all of it. I don't have a favorite.
Whatever you
I turn up with tequila. I turn down with Jameson. Love red wine. That's my favorite. I like shots and shit. I like mixed drinks. I like the frozen ones. Those are delicious. I like mimosas. Like Bloody Marys.
Okay.
I like all of that.
You like alcohol. I'm with you. Okay. When you're with your special person, or whoever is going to meet up for the night, what do you like playing in the background?
Well, currently probably in over like 2 years, I have not had anyone. So there's that.
You have a vibe
well, I would think if I had the choice of like my own imaginary man, let's say Idris Elba or Dion Cole or someone, someone delicious. If I could have someone like that, I think I would turn my Pandora onto the Erykah Badu radio, because she got some kind of Baduism and shit that hypnotizes niggas.
And you burn the incense? So if I
could just get in the house, burn an incense, make a couple shots, I might have a husband.
Okay, there we go. Miss Lady Day, what do you
That,
like?
that's my plan. I'm a work at it. And,
I love you to slow
you know.
jams. I'm a 90s girl, so I'm like, you know, I was an 80s, 90s girl. I love all the 90s R&B.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and the funny thing is with the age of
Girl,
technology,
that 90s R&B, that was baby making music back then. That was
right?
Yeah,
right? So
girl.
now I just pick a mix on YouTube, and I don't have to move into I don't have to live in the current time. I'm just straight in the 90s. Listening to that old stuff.
Yeah.
I love me the old R&B stuff, and that just is totally what and I love to sing, so I'm just right there with them. I'm singing like I'm on concert. I'm on stage in concert with them.
Are you a screamer, or are you like you're being muffled? What's happening?
Wasn't this supposed to be about comedy?
Isn't it funny?
What are we talking about here?
Okay, so Kinte maybe didn't explain. Cocktails with LA is a show about me going through my recovery through sex addiction. And it didn't start off as comedy, but it's become very funny to some people.
No, he did not say that. No.
Not this show.
No, I know, but you did not say anything about what LA show was about. And I've heard, he had asked me if I'd heard about you. I'd heard about you, but I did not know what your show was about. There we go. I love it. There it is.
First time I ever put a big black dick on the stream.
And the best joke about that rum is that no matter what flavor you buy, it's called Big Black Dick, but it's got a pink lid. So it's got a pink tip. And I'm like, that's not good marketing, people. Like, come on now, be consistent. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
No.
So why do I not know that LA had a sex addiction all this time I've been knowing you? I never knew that.
Well, we weren't in the same place, so I couldn't come on to you or anything. But I'm just
I wasn't worried about that, but I think I know I at least showed a booty cheek or something on the blab. I don't recall you showing nothing. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. I know I wasn't
not a sex addict.
Hilarious.
But we'll talk later about that.
That's it. Girl, I'm good. Look, I don't need nothing getting my juices going, okay? my little girl been just chilling, just fine. We just gonna leave her alone, okay?
Right. Just all this mind your business. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next question?
At least now I feel a little bit prepared for what might come at me. Like, I was just like, straight up, did I like somehow like get moved into a different show? What happened there? But now I'm ready.
A little bit.
Okay, so look, we got something we can ask you, because I don't think we don't have much time. It's pretty much over. But hopefully this is a good question for you.
Okay.
And you won't run away from the last one. Is cheating a choice or a mistake? Is it different?
It's a choice,
It's
I think.
a choice. It's a mistake you make a choice to make. Calling it a mistake doesn't remove the choice. So it's always a choice.
It doesn't remove the responsibility.
Hell no.
It's always a choice.
Very passionate. Kinte, I'm sorry, I've hijacked your show.
No. This is great.
Well, your show's over.
Okay, what's the next question?
Yeah, well, let's
try to get through the
answers.
questions.
Okay, let's see what's in here.
Larissa, how you doing?
Okay.
See, Keidra agrees it's a choice.
Oh, this is kind of the same kind of question. Somebody was on a loyalty tip. It was about loyalty.
And by the way, cheating is definitely a choice.
Have you ever been squirted on?
I'm just gonna take a sip of my water.
Me too.
Squirted on, like with the water hose?
No.
Like,
You mean like a squirt bottle, like a super soaker?
Hey, take it. I don't think I have. I don't think.
How can you not be sure? What kind of things are you into that you're not even sure?
Oh man, this guy.
Okay, here. One more, and then we'll go.
Yeah.
This is rated.
Let's move on.
Okay, here we go. Have you ever hooked up with someone on Tinder?
I had a Tinder.
No, I attempted. I tried.
I went on a date with a guy from Tinder. Yeah. We had appies, and it was done after that. But my approach to Tinder was, because it's so easy to, that was the first swipe left, swipe right thing. It became like a video game to me, and having the date felt like winning the game. So it wasn't even about my own interest in the man. I'm I just want to get to the point where I have a date with somebody.
I wanted
to see what happens.
Yeah, I wanted to get a date. I wanted to get a date on there, but my kids told me it was like a hookup site, and then I deleted my whole little profile. So I talked to a few people, but I never met or went out to dinner with anybody from Tinder. So that's a negative for me. Sorry. I know everyone thinks that comedians have this rock star life and we do all these drugs and have sex with beautiful people, but that's not true. That shit is a lie.
So how many of us are not doing this full time? Right now, I have a full-time job.
This is something in the comedy clubs. Huh?
Wait, there's no sex in the champagne room?
No, most of the comedy clubs are filled with drunks and assholes. So,
well, if that's your type, then
if you want a more upscale app, Plenty of Fish is much more upscale. So
let me tell you a little something about Plenty of Fish. One of the jobs I had was working as a crisis worker in an emergency department. And so I spent a lot of time speaking with police because they were bringing in people in mental health crisis. And I had
selling vagina
who had, because of coming in a lot, had, we developed a rapport. There was a bit of friendship, whatever. Every last one of them told me, don't you dare go on that site. And my friend who's a probation officer calls it plenty of offenders. So just want to offer that out for, I also know somebody who met her husband, lovely guy, but for sites, as far as sites go, I wouldn't go anywhere near that one.
Which one?
Yeah. They're selling vagina on Plenty of Fish.
What?
They're selling vagina?
So, selling vagina. And butt cheek and pics and videos. They are doing the most on Plenty of Fish.
Wow. I haven't tried online dating yet since my divorce, but
I've never been on it because I heard so much about it that I was like, I think I'll.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing is, people always suggest, why don't you try online dating? Because it makes you feel like you have lots of options, but online dating, going into that now for me feels like intentionally subjecting myself to sexual harassment. Because there's so many men who just think it's appropriate to not go, I like your picture, I'd like to get to know you. They just start with what they want to do with my parts.
Oh my God.
And if you read my profile, you would see I'm an intellect, and that is not the way to hook an intellect.
Right.
Wait, it's not?
Your audience ready.
Right. You have to be smart and charm me, and then the parts.
Right.
It's not like work, though. It's a lot of work.
No, I'm just kidding.
What's with not wanting to do a little bit of work? Men got lazy.
What's the shortcut?
You think that saying hi on my profile gives you carte blanche to have your way with me? Hell no.
Finding gold in the Atlantic Ocean. You ain't never lied, sis.
Okay.
I'm telling you, they say you gotta kiss a lot of frogs. It ain't nothing but frogs out here. It ain't no. The kings is gone. They either gone, they got wives or husbands, and they are not thinking about our rusty single asses out here. It's just what it is. We're gonna have to learn how to be creative and find companionship in a pet or something. I don't know what to tell you. It's a sad world out here, and I'm not here with good news right now, but I'm just saying.
I'm keeping hope alive. I'm just realistic that there's a lot of nightmares out there.
And the quarantine is the biggest cock blocker of 2020 ever. Because you can't go to nobody's house. They don't want you kissing. You got to be 6 feet away. You can only hit it from the back. I mean, what you gonna do? You're limited on everything.
Wait a minute.
You
If
know?
you can hit it from the back and still be 6 feet away, I'm scared of that man. I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
That don't sound like a man. That sounds like a horse.
Hey, Lady Day, I'm thinking he got to lean back. He got to lean back too. You know, not.
Oh my God!
Not only is
listen,
you know what I'm saying.
That's
He gonna have
that's still making contact.
back.
That's still making some contact.
I mean, it's still making contact.
That's not
but if he
physically
got gloves
distancing because
on,
there's a part that ain't distant.
well,
You better mind you don't end up with a
corona
corona coochie. Like, come on now, watch yourself.
I know, but see, our goodie treats don't have the capacity to hold corona. So,
Lady Day, did you just say corona pussy?
No, I said corona coochie. I said she better not wear line up with a corona coochie.
No,
you say don't have the
can't
capacity,
live in the.
If you go test, I'm not saying you can, but just I ain't want to have any episode where
Corona cannot live in the vagina. I'm about to Google that.
I have not checked it out because I'm not really testing that theory out.
Isn't it 85 degrees?
I want to know.
Corona. Wait. Well. What's her name? Alexa. Maybe I should ask her if it can live there.
Yes, ask her.
Oh my God, that's crazy though. But yeah,
why it take me right to the COVID page? I guess I'm too specific.
Hold on, fully googling it. I don't think
people are like, oh, yeah,
I'm just being silly.
I need to know this. No, it's not sexually transmitted. That's for sure.
No.
So if you wear a mask,
no, it doesn't.
Coronavirus.
But if your partner has it and you kissing them in the mouth, then yeah.
Well, you just cut out foreplay.
How about a web search for it?
Oh, wait a minute. It says the rimming of the mouth and anus. Hold on. It says condoms and dental dam can reduce the contact of saliva or feces.
Okay.
Washing it before and after. So y'all need to get in the shower before y'all do it. You got to put on a mask and gloves.
Obvious.
Get it from the back, lean back, and then when y'all arrive, you jump back in the shower and take that shit off.
You have to wash it with soap and water for at least 20 seconds.
There is no round two. Round two has to be the next day. Or you can do a distance hand job like this.
Listen, with all the physical distancing, like a wave is going to seem like
that's not far enough. I don't know. That's a problem. Now you got to put on a spacesuit or something.
Oh my gosh! Did you see what Larissa said? I can't even repeat that.
We get the box 8. Damn, Rona.
Wow.
I'm with you, girl.
But it's funny says a distant hand job ? Hilarious. Oh
right.
My God.
No, I think you can get your box 8 with some dental dam.
There you go.
Dental dam.
Not only did you find out about these lovely ladies and their comedy, but we made it educational here at the end.
Yeah, LA took us on a bit of a detour from the journey I thought we were taking in this conversation.
The adventures of a recovering sex addict, and I'm bringing everyone with me. So you just go along.
Well, just keep all your little nasty corona treats to yourself, and then won't nobody get sick.
Okay.
Just hold out, play with yourself. Have fun. Meow 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 meow.
I
do that.
saw it on your YouTube. I nearly dead when I saw that.
Hilarious.
Meow meow meow.
Wow. All right. And then on this note, I'm gonna start off with you, Lady Day. How can people get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for? I know you have an event coming up soon.
Yes. So Dany is the feature comic in our next online show on Friday, May 15th at 8 p.m. So I will send you the details so you can send it out to your peeps, to anybody who's on here, because I have yet to figure out how to join the chat session. So Kedra, hi, because I saw you said hi from time and I didn't know how to type in the hi because I've never used this platform before. But I am on Instagram, and I just actually recently set it up because truthfully, I didn't really see myself as a comedian. So I finally decided, okay, I guess I should have some kind of social handle. So at Lady Day Comedy is my IG account. And right now that's it for social media.
All right. And we're going to put this up.
Is it just straight at Lady Day?
I believe so. I'm going to double check. I have a billion IG accounts, so I just got to double check what this one is.
Got some burner
accounts. I only exaggerate a lot. It's just Lady Day Comedy.
All right, Lady Day Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what can we expect on that event?
Oh. So that one is all ladies for that event. Nice. And there's no real theme to it. We're just going to bring some laughs. And for like Dany, you live in the States, but it's the beginning of our long weekend here, which the concept of a long weekend during a lockdown is kind of lost because it's the Friday of. Yeah, the long weekend's early this year. So the 15th is the beginning of the Victoria Day weekend. So we have our long weekend, I think, the week before y'all have yours in the States. But what's a long weekend when you're at home all the time anyways?
Right.
Nobody's packing up. Well, I guess some people might pack up and go to the cottage because they can physically distance over there too. But I ain't got no cottage to go to because I'm Black. And I ain't got no trailer, ain't got no cottage. But so we're just going to have a night where we catch some jokes and hopefully bring some entertainment to people and break a bit of the monotony that can be being in your house all the time.
Yeah. What's the man situation in Canada? Like, are there a lot of singles there? Like, what's going on over there?
So there's men. I've spent a lot of my time single. But I think, I have my concepts of why that is. And I think part of it is, I'm a thicker lady. So, in Jamaica, they like to call you fluffy. So I'm fluffy. And I don't think that all the Canadian men like the fluffy as much. I think the fresher ones do.
No,
but sorry?
It's not because you're fluffy. They're trifling. There's nothing here for you.
I was trying to be nicer, but that might be some of it for some of them too, right? Like I don't know all my male friends, if I had said to them, do you have a friend you could hook me up with? They're like, no, none of my friends are good enough for you. Why you got so many trifling friends?
Okay, so then I'm not so off base in saying what I said then.
Yeah.
There are some nice guys here, I'm sure, but they lack a masculinity that I want in the type of man that I'm attracted to. I need more of an assertive.
You like them New York.
But they don't need to be aggressive.
Proud.
They need to be
aggressive
and assertive, not aggressive, assertive. Like,
I do better when I go to the States than I do on this side of the border. And when I go to the Caribbean, I'm like, I do very well. Yeah. I just don't live in the States and I don't live in the Caribbean.
Right.
I don't know. I would be a terrible girlfriend. So it's not going to work out for me right now. I'm not in the space. It sounds fun, but I probably won't like them after 3 days.
At least you can say that because there's other chicks who don't know that, who are torturing these dudes and then putting it on the dudes. There's no good men out here. No, you straight up cray. That's why you're not having good relationships. So at least you know where you might pose a bit of an issue in a relationship.
Yes, Stephanie.
I'm not ready for all that.
Well,
but this is great. What else are we doing?
You wait till you're like 60, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in this dating pool. Is that what's gonna happen?
Maybe. Probably a relationship.
Oh wow. Okay. What's up,
I
Dany?
don't know.
What's your social media, Dany?
What was that?
Your social media handles.
Oh, I am on IG under at Dany_Redwine, and that is DANY_Redwine. That is my IG. I am on Facebook under Dany Redwine, and I just opened up my friends because I had a whole bunch of. I had to go through like my list of friends and like delete all these like duplicate accounts and deactivated accounts. It took me like 2 days, and I think I deleted like 600 people. So I'm starting to get new people on my page. So that's been nice. I'm connecting with a lot of new comedian friends. And I do Snapchat, but not very often.
Right.
So I'm at _Redwine1 on Snapchat. And that's about it. Otherwise, look, cash at me. Look, I got a cash at
OnlyFans.
Cash, you know. That's Danielle L. Redwine. If you're feeling generous, you know. I like sushi. So
Now, just as
closed mouths don't get fed. You know, I'm just putting it out there.
Before we say goodbye, I think we've talked about this once before, but people assume your name is a stage name, right? But that's your real name, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, my real name. I was born Danielle Lynn Redwine.
Yeah, so that
yes.
I thought it was
yeah.
first. I was like, that's my name, and you were like, no, that's my name. So
no, so I had to hear that song all my life. Red, red wine, you make me feel so fine.
Yeah, people are not creative.
Red, red wine. I had to hear that shit all of my life. It almost got me in a couple fist fights, you know. And then my mom was gonna name me Brandy, y'all.
Oh no!
Oh my God,
that's not cool.
You're gonna show up in my.
Girl, if my mom would have named me Brandy. Brandy, I said, shit, my name should have been champagne. Brandy, champagne, red
more sounds like a stripper name.
Yeah, it does.
Now featuring champagne. No, that's
like, wait, what's
saying?
You guys are killing me.
I thought this was a comedy club.
Coming on stage. I'd have to come out on stage drunk, being Brandy Redwine. I'd just be like,
all right. And LA, how can we get you on social media? And tell us about your show. Another episode drops tomorrow, right?
Yeah, another episode drops tomorrow. You probably get it at midnight on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, all of those things. Everything is Cocktails with LA. It's TALES, and it's an adventure. Every show is different, and people tell me things. I don't know why they just tell me things, but they do. And I love to listen, and I love to share it with everyone. So Cocktails with LA. Tune in every Wednesday or whenever you want to just binge watch. There's a lot of good stuff there.
I heard a lot of wonderful shows that she's done. Episodes where, some of it I was pretty surprised. How'd you get these people to tell you these things that they tell you? But it's very entertaining. And tomorrow, is it tonight at midnight or is it tomorrow night at midnight?
Midnight Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, okay. So
you're a night owl.
Yeah.
Well, she did.
I just uploaded it. Just doesn't.
Yeah. It doesn't.
What you talking about? Some low down, dirty stuff? I'll be in there. Where you?
I was just gonna say, Danny's on.
Let me tell you,
Larry Flint blushed when he saw the episode. So that's what I'm saying. But no, they're very good. It's very.
And which ones you pick? They have different stories. Some are funny, some are not so funny. Some are just like clips where I can grab somebody who's willing to do a conversation. It's just a lot of fun. People, and we just find stories that are common for everybody. There's human nature in all of us. So just like comedy, when you start telling those stories, you're gonna relate.
It's very. I don't know if y'all remember a show back in the day called Real Sex.
Never heard.
Oh yeah.
And then they would do these interludes where they'd be like, where they interview couples and stuff, and it kind of has that kind of vibe to it. The interlude part.
That's where I remember the Punani Poets from.
I remember that too. The Punani part. Yeah.
You remember the Punani Poets?
I remember that. That was a great show.
I was like, I want to go to one of them shows. Are they still around?
I believe so.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, the Punani Poets.
You never heard of the Punani?
And LA, you might appreciate that. I'm appreciating the American pronunciation, Punani. It makes it sound all proper. We would say Punani. Like it's different.
But listen, LA, you would probably like it. It's basically spoken word, and there are beautiful black naked people acting out the poem.
Oh my goodness. I have to.
Yes. And the poem is pure erotica.
So
you can like, yeah, and it's beautiful black people. Like, I mean, they are doing their thing. They damn near having sex on some of the sets. Like, it is very warm. It makes you very warm. Very
The
warm.
coronavirus cannot exist because I'm the 85 degrees and higher.
Right. There you go. All right,
Yes.
you can give me a Kinte F on Twitter.
Yeah, Nicole said she remembered the Punani Poets. Yeah, they were dope.
They were, yeah.
Dope.
You better have a
Kinte
man close
Ferguson.
by though after you watch that shit. You better have a man. You better have a man close by. That's all I gotta say. If you watch the Punani Poets, you can probably get it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
And Kinte Ferguson on Instagram and indyradio.org is the website, indyradio.org. I know I'll probably be streaming sometime this rest of the week. So it'll just be out there. But I want to thank everybody for participating. I'm so sorry that Dana couldn't participate. There was an issue with her audio, and but she's a fantastic up and coming comedian, and she's a funny lady. And also, if you follow her on Instagram, she's teaching people how to master chess, and it's pretty awesome. So definitely check her out. With all that said, I want you guys to have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, and God bless you.
Thank you, ladies. I'll see
y'all.
you, Lady Day.
I will
All
see you
right.
at the next show in LA. I'm going